Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In today's video, we're going to build a stunning portfolio website from scratch. We're going to use the latest version of Next.js, which is Next.js 15. We're going to use the latest Tailwind CSS, which is Tailwind version 4, and also we're going to use TypeScript. Now I'm going to show you the full demo of this portfolio website. So if I reload the page, you can see we have animation in our portfolio. And also you can notice we have this amazing particle background where the particle moves with the cursor. So this is a very amazing feature that you can add to your portfolio to look it more professional. So we have this particle background, and also you can see we have this text writing effect. So it says that a passionate web developer, then it goes back and then it says front-end developer. So it's a cool features that you can add to your portfolio. And this is our hero section. Now if I start scrolling, we have this section with scroll animation. So we're also going to implement the scroll animation in our portfolio. So you can see this sections looks amazing. Then we have this educations and experience section. You can see the design, it looks amazing. Then we have this project section with animation, scroll animation. Then we have the skill section with scroll animation, and you can see the hover effect. The hover effect looks amazing. It's a 3D light parallax effect. So you can see in hover it looks just amazing. Then we have this client review slider where you can slide from left to right or right to left, and this section also looks neat and clean, and it also have auto sliding feature. You can see it slide automatically after some times. Then we have this block section with scroll animation, and the block section have this hover effect also. And then we have this contact us section with contact information, icons, and this forms. And then we have this simple footer, and here you can see a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So it's a scroll to top button. Initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling, it appears to the screen. So it's a scroll to top feature. And then the most important feature that we have is our portfolio website is fully responsive. So it's responsive in every device. Now if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, so this is the iPhone devices. Here you can see in mobile devices it looks amazing. We have our particle background and everything fit perfectly. And now we have a burger menu. So if I click here, you can see a sidebar will open with the nav links, and it looks amazing. It has smooth animation. You can see if I click here, it will close, and first a overlay come to the screen and then the sidebar. So it looks just amazing. And if I start scrolling, you can see all other sections fit perfectly with our screen size. So this is the project section, then this is the skill section, the client review slider, the blog section, the contact us section. So everything fit perfectly. Then if I show you another type of device like the iPad, in the iPad you can see it also fit perfectly. We don't have any overlap or anything like that, and it looks awesome. And we have this sidebar also in our iPad. So this is the amazing portfolio website that we are going to build today, and I'm going to teach you everything from scratch. I'm going to teach you how you can initialize a Next.js project with TypeScript and Tailwind CSS. I'm going to teach you how you can structure your file, how you can create reusable component, how you can use particle.js for particle background, how you can create different types of hover effect, how you can create slider like the client review slider, how you can work with third-party libraries, and finally I'm going to teach you how you can deploy your project in live server like Vercel. So there is a lot of things that you are going to learn from this video. So I encourage you to watch the full tutorial for better understanding. And the source code and starter file of this project will be given in the description. And now, without wasting any time, let's start building this amazing portfolio website. Now we are going to set up our project. So for this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my PC, and I'm going to name it Portfolio Writing. And then I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code. And here I'm going to open a new terminal, and here I'm going to use npx create next app at the rate latest to initialize a latest Next.js project, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the packages are installed in our portfolio YT folder. Then I'm going to hit enter. Now we're going to use Y to proceed. So it asked me, would you like to use TypeScript? Yes, we're going to use TypeScript. We're going to use ESLint. We're going to use Tailwind CSS. We do not need the source directory, and we're going to use app router obviously. And the turbo pack is new in Next.js 15. It is for the development. It makes our development faster. So we're going to use the turbo pack also. And we do not need to customize our import aliases. So no. So now this will install all the necessary package to initialize a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. Our installation is completed. Now here the app folder is our main folder. So here we have the fab icon, then we have that global.css. So here we already have some code, but I'm going to remove everything because we are going to start from scratch. Now I'm going to hit enter and hit save. Now we have layout.tsx. This is the overall wrapper of our project. So if I give you an example, here you can see we have our children. So if I add a navbar here and then a footer here, so first we will have navbar, then we have the children's, and then we have our footer. That means our navbar and footer will be added to all the page that we are going to create, and navbar will be at the top, then we have our other child component, and then at the bottom we will have our footer. So this is the layout. It wraps our overall project. We can also change our metadata and fonts from here. Then we have this page.tsx. So this is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear to the screen. So here I am going to remove everything, and I am going to use a shortcut RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and I am going to name this home page. So if you are wondering how I use this shortcut, so to use this shortcut, you need to install a extension. The extension is this one, ES7 React Redux React Native Snippet. By installing this extension, you can use this shortcut. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Tailwind classes to check if our Tailwind is working or not. So I'm going to use text 5xl, and let's use a text red 950. Now I'm going to run our project using npm run dev and hit enter. Now I'm going to open a browser and go to the localhost 3000. So here you can see we have our larger text and red color text. That means our Tailwind is working. So I'm going to remove this class name because we do not need it. Next, in the public. So in the public folder, I'm going to create another folder called images. And here I'm going to copy some of the images that we are going to use in this project. So these are the images that I'm going to use in this project, and don't worry, these images given in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So check the starter file. So I'm going to copy this in our image folder. So these are some of the images that we are going to use in this project. Next, what we are going to do is we're going to install a icon library because we need to work with different types of icon in our project. So we're going to use React icons for that. So I'm going to split the terminal and I'm going to use npm I react icons, and I'm going to hit enter. So this will install React icons to our project. So React icons is installed successfully. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure our metadata and font. For that, we need to go to the layout.tsx. Here you can see it gives us some default font from Google Font, but we are not going to use this. So first I'm going to remove this two, and I'm going to import interfont from Google Font. and here I'm going to remove these two, and I'm going to create a font variable, and then I'm going to use enter, and inside this first we are going to use weights, font weight, and for this I'm going to use 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800 and 900. Then we need to use another one which is subsets, and here the subsets will be Latin, and I'm going to hit save. Then here I'm going to remove this and use our font dot class name. Now if I hit save, and then I'm going to change the metadata. Here you can see the metadata title is create next step and description. Metadata is very important for SEO purposes. So here I'm going to use a title like my name, portfolio, and let's say Next.js 50. And for the description I'm going to use something like portfolio website built with Next.js 50. You can use anything you want here. So I'm going to hit save. Now if I go to our project, here you can see at the top we have this schedule portfolio Next.js 15. We have our metadata working, and in the font, so if I use 100%, 200%, and if I hover here, you can see the font is 16 pixel inter. That means our font is also working properly. So I'm going to reset the sizing. So our metadata and font is works properly. Next, what I'm going to do is, if I show you the deployed version, here you can see our project use a different background color for all these sections. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add this background in our layout. So here in the body, I'm going to add a bg of hash 0d 0d 1f. Now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see we have this beautiful background color. Next, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a components folder, and inside this we're going to create two folders. One is helper folder. So here we are going to add our helper components, and then I'm going to create a home folder. Here we are going to add our homepage related component like the hero sections, the service section, the contact sections, and all of this. So here first I'm going to create a home.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add this in our home page. So in the home page, we'll use this home component, and in the home component we are going to add our home page related component. That's how our home page component will be neat and clean, and all the heavy work will be done in this home component. And in the home, I'm going to add a class name here, and overflow will be hidden. So for the home page, we don't want any overflow. So this is it for our project setup. Our project setup is completed. Now I'm going to teach you the routings in Next.js 15 so that you can create multiple pages. So let's go to our page.tsx. So when you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear to the screen. So let's add a comment here. So when you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear to the screen. Now let's say if we want to go to about page or create about page, we need to do is localhost 3000 slash about. So this is another page that we can create. Next, I'm going to show you how we can create a nested route like localhost 3000 slash about, let's say slash team. So this is a nested route. Then I'm going to teach you the dynamic route. So let's say if you go to the localhost 3000 slash about, slash team and a specific team member. For example, my name, let's say Shajal. You want to find the details on Shajal or any other team member. So how you can implement this dynamic route? So I'm going to teach you all of this. So first, let's create this about page. So to create this about page, what you need to do is in the app, you need to create a folder and you have to name it about. And it is very important, you must name the folder about, otherwise the page will not slash about. It will be other things that you name your folder. So if you add team, then it will be localhost 3000 slash team. If you add product, then this will be localhost 3000 slash product. So we are creating about page, that's why the folder name will be about. And then inside this, we need to create a page.tsx, and it is very important, you have to name it page.tsx, otherwise it will not work. Now I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and I'm going to name it about page. If I hit save and go to our project, and if I go to localhost 3000 slash about and hit enter, and we are in the about page. So let's change the text color here. So add a class name of text white and text 5xl. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we are in the about page. Awesome, you can see how easy it is to create different pages in Next.js. Now let's go to the home page again, and now let's create the nested route, which is localhost 3000 slash about slash team. So what you need to do is in the about, you need to create, inside this about you need to create another folder which is team, and then inside this I'm going to copy this page.tsx, and here I'm going to change this to, let's say, team page, and for the text also change here the team page, and let's say team page inside the about page. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I go to slash about slash team and hit enter, now you can see team page inside the about page. That means this is the nested route. You can nest it another label. You can create something like localhost 3000 slash team slash like the dev team. Then you have to create another folder inside the team which will be dev team. So this is the nested routing. Next, if you want to create a dynamic routing like this where the end part will be anything, it can be any member of your team. So for that, what you need to do is inside this team you need to create this third bracket syntax, and inside this you have to pass name, because we are expecting to have a name at the end like the team member. So I'm going to use name. Then inside this you need to create page.tsx. So I'm going to copy this page.tsx here, and then here let's change this, let's say team details page, and let's say team member details page inside the about page. Don't need this, just say that team member details page. Now if I go to our project and if I go to slash about slash team, and let's add a team member name like John, and if I hit enter, now you can say team member detail page. Awesome, so we created a dynamic page. But how can you access this name? So for that, what you need to do is you need to convert this into an async component, because to get the params value we need asynchronous functionality in Next.js 15. So I'm going to convert this an async. Here we are receiving a params, and then we are going to get our name from await params dot name, and then what we can do is we can add the name here. So the name, and here it's complaining about TypeScript because we do not add the type for the params. So I'm not going to do it here because this is the example of dynamic routing, not the TypeScript. We are going to add TypeScript in our project when we start building our main components, main pages for our portfolio. So for now, let's ignore this TypeScript complaint. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now here you can see you can get the name. So let's change this to something else like Jack. So now if I hit enter, now you can see here it says team member details page Jack. So you successfully gets the value also from here. So this is the dynamic routings in Next.js. So I'm going to go to the localhost 3000. So now you have a better understanding of how routing works in Next.js. Now I'm going to delete this because we do not need it. So it's deleted. Now you have a better understanding of how routing works in Next.js, how normal routing works, how nested routing works, and how dynamic routing works. So this is it for our Next.js routing. Now let's build the Navbar. So if I show you the Navbar in the deployed version, here you can see we have icons, or you can say the logo, and then we have these nav links and a download CV button. So now we are going to build this. So to build this, what I'm going to do is in the home folder, I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to name it Navbar. So inside this, first I'm going to create a nav.tss and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and this is for the desktop navigation bar. Then I'm going to create a mobile nav.tss. So this is for the sidebar in the smaller devices. So I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to create another one which is responsive nav.tss, and here we are going to create the functionality to make it responsive. So I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and here I'm going to add our nav and mobile nav, and then we're going to add this in our layout so that all the page have access to this navbar. So here I'm going to add our responsive nav. So after the responsive nav, we have our children. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our nav, mobile nav, and home. You cannot see it because the color is black here. So now let's go to the nav.tss, and here the first div we're going to add some class name. So first I'm going to use the transition all. So why I am using a transition, so if I show you the deployed version, here you can see when I start scrolling, the navbar changes background color smoothly. So for this I'm going to use that transition so that it happens smoothly. Then after the transition all, we have a duration of 200 millisecond. Then we have a height of 12 VH. Z index will be 10,000. This one will be fixed and width will be full. And then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, height will be full, justified will be between, then width will be 90%, image will be auto. And then inside this div we first have our logo. So here for the logo we first have a div with class name of flex, item center, SpaceX will be 2. Now inside this we have another div with class name of width 10, height 10, background will be white, rounded full, then we have flex, item center, justify center, and flex will be in the column direction. Now inside this we have a icon. So inside this we will have an icon which is FA code. This icon is coming from React icon. If you remember, we install React icons in our setup process. So we are going to use this FA code icons, and here we are going to apply some class name. Width will be 5, height will be 5, text color will be black. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our icon just like this one. Next we have the name. So after this div we have a h1 with the name, and this h1 will have some class name of text excel, and this one will be hidden in the smaller devices. In the small and large screen we are going to show this as a block element. In medium screen text will be to excel, text will be white, and font bold. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our name. Awesome, it looks nice. Next we have the nav link. So for the nav links, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder at the root level, and I'm going to name it constant, and I'm going to create a constant.ts. So here we are going to add our constants variable. So I'm going to export const nav links, and this one will be an array of object, and the object contains an id, then a url. For now I'm going to use hash, then a label, and for the first one we are going to use home. So we have 6 more of them, so I'm going to copy it 6 more times, and then I'm going to change it. The second one have id of 2, and here the label will be services. Then this one will be id of 3, and here the label will be resume. Then this one will be id 4, and the label will be works. Then this one is id of 5, and the label will be skills. Then this one is id of 6, and the label will be testimonials. And finally this one is id 7, and the label will be contact. That's it. So this is our nav links. By doing this, we do not need to repeat the same styling for every nav links. We can just map through it and give one styling, and that will apply to all the nav links. So now let's go to the home and nav.css. So this is our logo. After the logo we have our nav links. So here we have a div with class name of, so in the for the nav links it will be hidden in the smaller devices, because in smaller device we will have our sidebar, and in a larger screen this one will be flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 10. Now inside this we're going to map through our nav links. So we're going to import it from our constants, and then we're going to map through it. We'll get the individual link, and we're going to return a link component, and the link will be coming from our next link. And here in the link, first we need to provide a key. The key will be link.id, and then we need to add some properties. So first the href, the href will be link.url, and then we're going to apply some class name. So the class name will be text base, In the hover, text will be cyan 300, text color white, then font will be medium, transition all, and duration will be 200 millisecond. And then inside this link we'll have a p tag with our link dot label. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our nav link and it looks amazing. We have the hover effect. It looks exactly like this one, and you can see we do not need to repeat the same class name for every nav links. We just add it here and map through our nav links and it applies to all the nav links. That's why we are using this constant variable. Awesome. So after the nav links we have some buttons. So here we have a div with class name of flex. Items will be center. Then we have SpaceX 4. Now inside this we first have a CB button. So let's add a CB button comment here. So here let's use a button tag, and this button tag will have some class name px of 8, py will be 3.5, text small, cursor pointer, then we have rounded lg, bg will be blue 800, in the hover bg will be blue 900, transition all, duration will be 300 millisecond, text white, then we have flex, item center, SpaceX will be 2. Now inside this button first we have an icon which is bi download, and this icon will have some class name of width 5, height 5, and then we have a span, and here the text will be download cb. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our button download cb, which looks exactly like this one. Awesome. So then what we need is we need a burger menu. By clicking this burger menu our sidebar will open and then close. So here we need a burger menu. So for the burger menu I'm going to use an icon which is high bars bottom right, and this icon will have some class name width of 8, height of 8, cursor pointer, then we have text white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our burger menu, but the burger menu will be hidden in the large screen and it will appear to the smaller screen where we need the sidebar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an LG in larger screen. This one will be hidden. So now if I hit save and go to our project, you can see it's hidden. So now if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices our nav links are hidden and we have this burger menu. Now we are going to implement the scroll feature. So if I show you the scroll feature, here you can see when I start scrolling, the navbar changes background color. So to build this, let's go to the navbar. So here first what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client. In Next.js, every component is a server component by default, and in server component you cannot use hooks. To use hooks you need to convert your component a client component. So you can convert a component client component by using this use client directive. So now this component is a client component. And then what I'm going to do is at the top I'm going to create a state variable navbg and set nav bg, and I'm going to use state hooks, and here initially the navbg will be false. Then I'm going to use effect hooks, and I'm going to add an empty dependency array here. That's it. Now here inside this we're going to create a function called handler, and this one will be an arrow function, and inside this we're going to take if the window dot scroll in the y direction. So if we scroll more than 90 pixels, then we are going to set our navbg to true. Then we are going to show our background. But if window dot scroll in the y direction is less than 90, we are going to set our navbg to false. That's it. Then in the window we are going to add event listener. So window dot add event listener, and we are going to listen for the scroll event. So when you scroll, we are going to run our handler function. That's it. And another thing, it is very important to add a cleanup function in your use effect hooks. So here I am going to add a cleanup function. So I'm going to return an arrow function, and I'm going to remove the event listener in the cleanup function. So here instead of add event listener, I'm going to use remove event listener. So that's it. So this will remove our event listener in the cleanup function. Next, here in this div we are going to add some dynamic classes. So that's why I'm going to convert this into template literal format, and I'm going to use this backtick, and here we're going to check if navbg is true, then we're going to add a background of hash 0f142ed9, and we are going to also add a shadow of md. Otherwise we are going to just use the fixed if the navbg is not true. So that's it. So if the navbg is true, we are going to add this background and a shadow. Otherwise we just use the fixed position. That's it. So now if I hit save, and let's add some height here. So in the home I'm going to add a height of 2000 pixels so that we can see the effect. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I start scrolling, so it looks like nothing happened. Let's reload the page. Now if I start scrolling, now you can see the effect. The navbar changes background color in the scroll, and it's happening smoothly. So our scrolling feature is also working. So now I am going to remove this hide because we do not need it, and let's go to the nav. So this is the text of size navigation bar. Next we need to implement the mobile navigation bar. So the idea is when I click here, the sidebar will open. So next we need to work on the mobile navigation bar. Now let's build the sidebar. So let's go to the mobile nav.tsx, and here inside this div we first have our overlay. So here we have a div with class name of fixed, inset will be 0, transform, we're going to use transform here, we're going to use transition because we want animation here, and we want that smooth sliding animation, and then the right will be 0, duration will be 500 millisecond, z index will be 40, and then 2, Then we have bg of black, opacity 70, width full, then height will be full, height will be screen, not full screen. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our black overlay. Awesome. Next, after this, we have our nav links. So here we have a div with class name of text white. Then we have fixed justify center. Then we have flex. Flex will be in the column direction. Height will be full. Transform transition all. Duration will be 500 millisecond, and we want a delay of 300 milliseconds. So first the overlay come to the screen, and after 300 millisecond delay, the actual sidebar will appear to the screen. Width will be 80%. Smaller devices, width will be 60%. BG will be sin 800, space y6. Then z index will be 4050. Then we have right 0. That's it. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our sidebar, actual sidebar. Then inside this div, we're going to use our nav links from the constant. We're going to map through it. We'll get the individual link, and we're going to return a link component from our next link. And here we're going to add the key. The key will be link dot id. Href will be link dot url, and then inside this we will have a p tag with link dot label, and this p tag will have some class name of text white. Width will be fit, text excel, margin left will be 12, border bottom will be 1.5 pixel. Then we have padding bottom 1, border white, and smaller devices text 30 pixel, smaller and larger screen. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our home, services, resume, work, skill, testimonial, and contact. It looks exactly like our deployed version. And next we need this cross icon to close the navigation bar. So here after this div, we will have our cross icon. Here I'm going to use cg close, and inside this we're going to add some class name of absolute. Top will be 0.7 RAM, right will be 1.4 RAM, then smaller devices width will be 8, smaller devices height will be 8, width will be 6, height will be 6 for extra small devices. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so let's hit save. So this one will be inside this div, so in the inside nav links div. So now if I hit save, and now you can see we have our cross icon. Awesome. Next, we need to implement the responsive functionality. For that, let's go to the responsive nav, and we're going to convert this into a client component using use client. And here first I'm going to create a state variable which is show nav and set show nav, and I'm going to use state, and initially this one will be false. Now here I'm going to create a function. First one is open nav handler, which will be an arrow function that set our show nav to true, and another one which is close nav handler that set our show nav to false. Now we need to pass these props in our nav and mobile nav. So for the nav, we're going to pass a prop as open nav, and we're going to pass open nav handler function. And for the mobile nav, we're going to pass the show nav variable and also the close nav handler function as a close nav props. That's it. Now we need to get these props in our actual component and give them the proper type definition. Here our TypeScript come to the picture, and here you can see it's complaining about TypeScript. So first let's go to the nav, and here for the TypeScript at the top we're going to declare a type props. You can name it anything. You can name it nav props, you can name it only nav props type, you can name it anything. So I'm going to use props here, and here we are receiving a open nav, which is a function that returns void, which is an arrow function that returns void. That's it. Now we need to pass this inside our component. So we're going to pass our props, and here we will get our open nav function. Now when we click on this burger menu, we are going to call our open nav to open the navbar. That's it. Now let's go to the mobile nav, and here at the top I'm going to declare a type props, and here we are receiving a show nav props, which is a type of boolean, and then we are receiving a close nav props, which is a function that returns void. That's it. Now we are going to pass this in our function in our component, and we're going to import the close nav and show nav. So when I click on this cross icon, we are going to call our close nav to close the navigation bar. So here in the on click, we are going to call our close nav. That's it. Now based on this show nav, we are going to show our sidebar or hide our sidebar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable here, and I'm going to name it nav open, and here we are going to check if show nav is true, then we are going to use translate x of 0. We are going to show the nav, otherwise we are going to hide the nav using translate x 100%. That's it. Now we need to add this in our overlay and nav links also, and it is a dynamic value. That's why we are going to convert this into a template literal. So I'm going to use this and template literal format, and I'm going to remove this, and here I'm going to add our nav open, and we are going to do same for this nav links. So let's transform this into a template literal, and here let's add our nav open. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I click here, you can see the navbar, the sidebar opens very smoothly. First the overlay come to the screen, and then the sidebar, and it also close very smoothly. So our responsiveness working properly. Now let's check everything. So this is our desktop navigation bar where we have this nav links, download buttons, and if I inspect, so this is our mobile navigation bar where we have the menu icons. If I click here, it will open our navigation bar and close our navigation bar. So everything works perfectly. If I show you the iPad, you can see in iPad it also works properly. Our sidebar also works nicely here. So everything works perfectly. So our navbar is completed. Next, we are going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, here you can see we have our particle background, and then we have this image, some text, and this text write effect and a button. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this, I'm going to create a hero.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So here we will have our hero section. That's it. So now let's go to the hero.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of relative, then we have height of screen, flex, item center, justify center, text color white, overflow hidden, and flex will be in the column direction. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text hero. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of relative, then we have z index of 10, flex will be in the column direction, then we have items of center. So now if I hit save, and then inside this div we have a image which is coming from next image, and the image will have a source of slash images slash s1.jpg. Then for the alt we have hero image, then for the width we're going to use 150, and for the height I'm going to use 150, and then we have some class name of rounded full, then we have border of 8, and we have border color of hash 0c 0c 48 double a. So this is our border color. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our image with this border effect which looks amazing. Next we have this text, so I'm going to copy the text from here, and then inside our div, so this is the image, so after the image we have h1 with the text, and then inside this text after the products we have a span, and inside this span we will have this brands and experience text. So I'm going to paste it here. Now this h1 will have some class name of text will be 2xl, smaller and large text will be 4xl, in medium and large text will be 5xl, in large screen text will be 6xl, margin top will be 6, text will be center, then font bold, and tracking will be wider, white, tracking white, and then this pen will have some class name of text cyan 200, and now if I hit save, so here we only have that and experience text. So we have creating web products and brands, and then we have this and experiences. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text, but it doesn't look like this one because we need a break tag. So after the products, here we will have, so let's see where we have our break tag. So after the product, we have our break tag. So here we will have a break tag. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see it looks exactly like this one, creating web products, brands and expertise experiences. So it looks good. Next we have this text effect. So here after the h1 we have a h2, and here we have some class name of margin top of 5, text will be small, px will be 2, text center, then in smaller devices text will be 2xl, font will be medium, and flex, and items will be center. Now inside this we have a text which is hi, I am Shajal, a passionate. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have hi, I am Shajal Talukdar, a passionate, and then we need to add this text effect. So for the text effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a npm package. The package is called typewriter. If I search for typewriter, then we're going to use this typewriter effect, and here you can learn more about this, more about its options and documentations. So first I'm going to copy this and then paste it here to install this package. So it installs successfully, and here we have some complaint, so let's quick fix with this code here. So now after this we will have a span, and the span will have some class name of text sign 200, then we have font of bold. That's it. Now inside this span we're going to use our typewriter. So let's import it first. So import typewriter. So import typewriter from typewriter effect. That's it. Now here we're going to use our typewriter, and then we need to pass some option. So here first we're going to use these options. Inside this we have another object, and first strings. A strings will be array, and first one is the front end developer, then we have backend developer, next we have web developer, then we need another one which is auto start, and we want the auto start to true. Next we have loop, so we want the loop to be true, so it works infinitively. Another thing we need to do is we need to convert this into a client component using use client. That's it. Now after the loop we're going to use a delay of 75, then the delete speed. So how fast the text will be removed. So this one will be 50, and then we're going to use the wrapper class name, and here we're going to use padding left of 2. So now if I hit save and if I go to our project, if I reload the page, and here you can see we have our typewriting effect, and you can see how easy it is to implement using these npm packages. That's the power of JavaScript, and that's the power of npm. So we can easily implement some difficult things here. So now it's looking amazing. We have the passionate backend developer, then it goes back, and then web developer, and again it deleted everything, and then the front end developer. Awesome. Next, what we have is this see my work button. So let's go here. So this is our h2. After that, we'll have a button, and this button will have some class name of padding top, margin top will be 6, px will be 10, py will be 4, bg will be blue 800. Then we have in hover, the bg will be blue 900, transition all, duration 300 millisecond, cursor pointer, then we have rounded full, text LG, font medium. So now I'm going to hit save, and inside this button we'll have a span with see my work, and then we have BS arrow right icons from React icons, and this one will have some class name, width of 5, height of 5, margin left will be 2, and inline block. So now I'm going to hit save, and now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our button, see my works button. Awesome. So next we need to add our particle. So for the particle, we're going to use a npm package. I'm going to first create a component here called particle background dot psx, and here I'm going to copy the component. So I'm going to paste the particle component here. So here you can see first we convert this into a client component, then we use this use effect, use memo, and all of this, and we need to install some of the packages. So we need to install npm I, we need to install this one, the ts particle slash react. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Then we need to install this ts particle engine, so I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Then we need to install this ts particles slim, and all of these are in the documentation. If you read, you can understand more. So I'm going to paste it here and hit enter. And don't worry, this particle background file will be added to the starter file. When you install the starter file, you will get this file and you can use it to any of your project. So here we have use effect, the configuration options, and all of this. If you want, you can change some of this to check what happens to your particle. So I'm not going to do it. So our installation is complete, and now I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to open my hero.tx, and here at the top I'm going to add our particle. So it's not showing here, let's see. So its name is particle hero. So particle hero. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our particles and it looks awesome. So if I reload the page, you can see we have our particles working. You can interact with your cursor with the particle and it looks awesome. So you just need to add this particles hero component in your hero component, and I'm going to provide you this particle background file. so that you can use it any of your project. And in the description you will have the starter file, and when you install the starter file you will get this file. So everything looks awesome, and you can see our particles looks amazing. And if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see our hero section is responsive in our mobile device. And in mobile device we have our particles at the background. We also have our text effect which looks awesome. And if I show you the iPad version, you can see in iPad it also fits perfectly, and we have our particle background as well as the text writing effect. So everything works properly. So our hero section is completed. Next, we are going to build the service section. So if I show you the service section, here you can see we have a heading and then we have this service card. So to build this section, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this service. And inside this, I'm going to create a services.css. And then I'm going to use RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the hero we will have our services. So now if I hit save, and then I'm going to open my services.tsx, and here the first div will have class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and then inside this div we will have our h1. And for the text I'm going to copy it from our deployed version. So this is the text, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it inside our h1. And here after this brand we will have a break tag, and then after this create we will have a break tag. That's it. Now this h1 will have some class name. So first we have text center, then text 2xl, in medium screen text 4xl, in extra large text 5xl, font bold, and text color white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our heading just like this one. Awesome. So we have our section heading. Next we have this card, and for this card I'm going to create a separate component so that we can use this card component. So what I'm going to do is inside this services folder I'm going to create a service card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And now after this h1 we will have another div, and this div will have some class name which will be 90%, then in small and large screen width will be 70%, and image will be auto. We're going to use grid calls will be 1, in medium screen grid calls will be 2, in extra large grid calls will be 4, cap will be 10, margin top will be 20, and items will be center. So now if I hit save, and then inside this div we will have another div, and then inside this div we have our service card. That's it. Now in the service card we are going to pass some props. First one is the icons. We are going to pass a icon. So the icon will be slash images slash s1.png, and all the images are given in the starter file. And for the name, this one will be UI and UX. And for the description, I'm going to copy it from our deployed version. You can use anything you want. So I'm going to copy this text, and this one is same for all of this, so you can just copy it, or you can use your own description for every service card. So this is our first service card. We have 4 service cards, so I need to copy this 3 more times, and then I'm going to change some of this information. For the second one, the icon will be S2, and for the name, this one will be web and mobile app. That's it. And I'm going to make the description same. If you want, you can change the description also. For the third one, this one will be s3.png, and for the name we're going to change it to design and creativity. Creative, only creative, design and creative. Then this one will be s4.png, and for the name we're going to use development. That's it. Now we need to receive the props in our service card. So let's go to the service card, and here at the top we have type props, and inside this we are receiving an icon which is a type of string. Then we receive a name which is type of string, and a description which is also type of string. Now we're going to pass it here, and then I'm going to import the description, the icon, and the name. Now here inside this div we have a image component, so I'm going to use image from our next image, and then this image will have the source of icon, then the width will be 60, and we need to pass an alt tag. For the alt, let's use just image, and then the height will be 60. Now if I hit save, so height will be 60. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have icon, not icon 0. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our icons. Awesome. So just like this one. Next, after this image, we have a h1 with our name, and we have a p tag with our description. Now this h1 will have some class name. So first we have margin top of 6, text will be excel, in medium screen text will be 2XL, then we have font of bold and text grade 200. That's it. Now for the p tag we have some class name of margin top of 6 and text gray 300. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our name and then the description, and this section looks amazing just like this one. Now let's check the responsiveness, if it is responsive or not. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly and looks awesome. And let's check this in the iPad version. In the iPad you can see we have 2 items and it looks perfect. So our service section is completed. Next we are going to build the resume section. So if I show you the resume section, here you can see we have work experience section and education section. So to build this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this resume, and inside this I'm going to create a resume.tff, and then I'm going to use RAC to create the component boilerplate. and then I'm going to add this in our home. After the service, we'll have our resume. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text resume. So next, let's go to the resume.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top of 20 and padding bottom of 16. Now inside this, we have another div with class name of width 90%. In smaller devices, width will be 70%. Then we have image of auto grid calls 1, in extra large grid calls 2, and gap will be 10. Now inside this div, first we have our work section, so work part. So let's say this div is for the work part, so work part, and then we have our education part, so education part. So let's say this div is for the education part. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our work part and education part. So in the deployed version, if I show you that in work and education, the card looks similar. In the education, we have this extra date section, date part. But in the work experience, we don't have this date. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a card component that will handle both this and that, so we can reuse it. So let's go here, and I'm going to create a resume card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. Now let's go to the resume. So now inside this work part section and div, we have a h1 with the text my work, and then we have a span with the text experience. That's it. Now this h1 will have some class name, and first we have text 3xl, smaller devices, text will be 4xl, font bold, then we have text white, and for the span we'll have a class name of text sign 200. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text my work experience, just like this one. Next, after this h1, we'll have a div, and inside this div we have a class name. First we have a class name of margin top of 10. Now inside this div we'll have our resume card, so we're going to use our resume card component, and here we are going to pass some props. So first one is the icon. So for the icon here, I am going to use a React icon, which is FA code pen. This one. And then I'm going to use another prop, which is role. And for the first one, the role will be full stack developer. That's it. Now we have three more, I think. Let's see. Yes, we have 3 cards, so we need to add 2 more. So I'm going to use 2 more resume card, and I'm going to change the icon. For the second one, we're going to use FA React, and for the third one, we're going to use nextjs database. And for the second one, the role will be front-end developer. And for the last one, the role will be backend developer. That's it. So now we need to receive these props. So let's go to the resume card, and at the top we're going to create a type of prop, and here we're receiving a role which is a type of string, and then we are receiving an icon which is a type of icon type. So we're going to import this icon type from React icons. So our icon will be this icon type, and we need another one which is date. If you remember, we are going to use this card for education card also, and education card we need to pass the date. That's why we're also going to add date here, but this one will be optional, and this type will be string. So by using this, we make sure that this date will be optional. It can be passed or cannot be. Now here I'm going to pass our props, and I'm going to import the icon, role, and date. That's it. Now for the first div, we have a class name of margin bottom of 6. Then inside this div, we have another div with class name of flex item center. Items will be start, not center. Item start. Then space x will be 6. BG will be blue 950 slash 20. Transition all. Duration 300 millisecond. Padding will be 4. Smaller devices, padding will be 8, and rounded MD. So now I'm going to hit save. Then inside this we have another div with class name of smaller devices. Width will be 40. Smaller devices, height will be 40. Width will be 10 and height will be 10. BG will be blue 950. Rounded full, and flex item center, justify center, and flex will be in the column direction. That's it. Now inside this div we have our icon. So we are going to use our icon, and the icon will have some class name of smaller and larger screen. Width will be 8, and smaller and larger screen height will be 8. Otherwise width will be 6 and height will be 6. Text will be white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have 3 cards with these icons, and we have different icons for different card. Awesome. Next, after this icon and after this div, we have another div with class name of flex1, and here we are going to check if we have date. Then we are going to show date like this. So if we have date, then we are going to use h1 with date, and we are going to add some class name here. So margin bottom will be 2. Smaller devices, px will be 6. Smaller devices, py will be 1.5. Px will be 4. Py will be 1. Then rounded full. BG will be gray 100, not 100, BG 200, BG gray 200. Then text gray 600 with feet smaller devices. Text will be LG, otherwise text will be small and font bold. Hit save. And then after this we have another H1 with the role, and this H1 will have some class name of text grade 200. Then we have text Excel. In smaller devices text will be 2XL, font will be semi bold. Now I'm going to hit save. After this H1 we have a P tag. So here I'm going to copy the text from here. This is some random text, you can use anything you want. So I'm going to use this random text here, and this P will have some class name of text gray 300. Then we have text smaller devices, text will be base, and padding top will be 3. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our experience part. We have this icon, the role, and then some text. Next we need this education part. So let's go here. So resume, and here I'm going to copy this H1 from here, and then at the education part I'm going to copy this H1, and here we need to change something. So this one will be my education. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see the title my education, just like this one. Now let's go to our code, and here after the H1 we have these tips. I'm going to copy this whole thing and paste it here, and we are going to change the icon here. For the first one we will have a bi batch, and here for the role we're going to use design institute of technology, and we are going to pass the date here. For the first one we're going to use January 2023 to December 2024. That's it. So here it's complaining. Let's see why. So here we are having a spelling mistake, so this one will be dead. Now it's okay. Then for the second one the icon will be this FA React. We are going to use the same, so FA React, and we're going to use this Bachelor in Computer Science. So let's add it here, and we also need the date. So this one, the date will be January 2019 to December, let's say 2022. And for the third one the role will be certificate in digital marketing. And here we are not going to change the icon, we are going to use this same icon here. If you want, you can change the icon. And then for the date, so this one will be, let's say, January 2016 to December 2019. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we also have our education part, which looks awesome, just like this one. Awesome. Now let's check if this is responsive or not. So if I inspect, if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. And let's check on the iPad. So in the iPad it also looks awesome. So our resume section is completed. Next we are going to build a project section. So if I show you the project section, here you can see we have a section heading, and then we have the project image, and then some text. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it projects. And inside this, I'm going to create a file called projects.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the resume, I'm going to use my project. Now I'm going to hit save. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our text project. Now let's go to the projects.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and then inside this we have h1, and the text I'm going to copy it from here and then paste it here. And after this recent we'll have a break tag, and then we have a span, and inside this span we have our projects. Now this h1 will have some class name, so the class name will be text center text to excel. In medium screen, text will be 4 excel. Then in extra large, text will be 5 excel. Font bold, and text color white. So now if I hit save, and also the span will have some class name. So the class name will be text cyan 300. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text, a small selections of recent projects. Awesome. Next we have this project. So after this h1, we'll have another div with class name of width 70%, image will be auto, we're going to use grid calls 1, in medium screen grid calls 2, gap will be 10, margin top will be 16. Now inside this div we have another div, and then here we have a image component. We're going to use next image here, and this image component we need to pass a source. The source will be slash images slash p1.jpg, and we have alt tag image, width will be 800 and height will be 650, and class name will be rounded lg. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our first image just like this one. Next we have this text. So after the image we'll have h1, and I'm going to copy the text from here in our deployed version, so modern finance development UI, and paste it here. This h1 will have some class name of margin top of 4, text will be extra large, smaller devices, text will be 2XL, font will be semi bold, and text white. And I'm going to hit save. And after the h1, we'll have another h1 with the text apps. Then we have UI slash UX. And now if I hit save, and this h1 will have some class name of padding top of 2, font medium, text white slash 18. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our modern finance dashboard UI and apps UI UX, just like this one. Awesome. Next we have 3 more, and these other 3 are similar to this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. So let's say add a comment, first project, and then let's copy it, and then this is our second project. The image will be p2.jpg. The text I'm going to copy it from here, and I'm going to paste it here. And this one is branding and motion, so add this here. Then this is our third project, and this one will be p3, and the text here will be this one, branding identity for startup. So copy this and paste it here, and this one is branding and UI UX. And this one is our fourth project, and this one will be p4, and the text I'm going to copy this from here and paste it here, and then we have this apps and UI UX. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our 4 projects, which looks amazing, just like this one. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. And let's check in the iPad device. In the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our project section is completed. Next we're going to build a skill section. So if I show you the skill section, here you can see we have skills, and we also have this amazing hover effect. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it skills. And inside this, I'm going to create a skills.tsx. And I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add it here. So after the project, we'll have our skills. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our skill text. Now let's go to the skills.tsx, and here first I'm going to create a skill array of object. So skills will be an array of object, and the object will contain a name. First one is JavaScript, and then a icon, and here we're going to use si JavaScript icon from React icon, and then a percentage. So percentage, and for the JavaScript let's use 89. So this is our first object. So then we have another one. The second one is React.js, and we are going to use si react, and let's use this 92. Next we have Next.js, next.js, and this one is React.js, and we are going to use si next.js, and for the percentage let's use 90. Then copy this. Then we have Node.js, and the icon will be si node.js, and let's use 88 here. Then copy this, and this one will be Tailwind CSS, and the icon will be si Tailwind CSS, and the percentage will be 94, and the final one is TypeScript. And the icon will be si TypeScript, and let's use 86. So now we have our skills data. Next, here the first div have a class name of text white, padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and then inside this we'll have our h2, or you can use h1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my services, and here I'm going to copy this h1, and I'm going to paste it here, and here we will have my, and then span skills, and the skills have a class name of text sign 200, no, text sign 300. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text my skills, just like this one. Next, after this h1, we will have a div with class name of flex. Flex will be wrap, justify, center, gap 6, and margin top will be 16. Now inside this div, we're going to loop through our skills using map, and we'll get the individual skill, and we are going to return. And here what we need to use a npm package so that we have this kind of parallax effect, 3D type effect. So for that we are going to use a npm package. The package we are going to use is react parallax tilt. So this one, react parallax tilt, we are going to use this package. So this is the react parallax tilt. If you want, you can learn more about. So first I'm going to copy their npm script, and I'm going to paste it here to install this package in our project. So the package is installed successfully. Next I'm going to import it. So at the top I'm going to import tilt from react parallax tilt, and we are going to here return a tilt component. So tilt component, and we need to pass the key. The key will be skill dot name, and then we're going to use a scale of 1.5 and then a transition speed of 400. Then inside this, and another thing, we need to convert this into a client component. So let's use client at the top, and then inside this field we will have a div, and this div will have a class name of background will be hash 14134145, and then the text center width 40, height 48, rounded 3 pixel, flex will be in the column direction, item center, justify center, shadow LG, transition, and then in hover the scale will be 105. That's it. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of text 5 pixel, margin bottom will be 4, and text color will be gray 300. Then inside this div we will have skill dot icon. Then we have a p tag with skill dot percentage, and this one will have a class name of text 2 pixel font semibold, and then we have another p with skill dot name, and this one will be class name of text purple 400, and margin top will be 1. So now if I hit save and go to our project, let's reload the page, and if I scroll down to our skill section, so here you can see we have our skill section, and we have this amazing hover effect, and you can see how easy it is to implement this amazing looking skill section and hover effect. So it looks exactly like this one. Let's check if this is mobile responsive or not. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly, and let's check in the iPad device. In iPad it also fit perfectly. So our skill section is completed. Next we are going to build the client review section. So if I show you the client review section, here you can see we have section headings, and then we have this slider. So now we are going to build this section. So to build this section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it client review, and inside this I'm going to create a client review.tsx, and then I'm going to use RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after this skill we will have our client review, so this one. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text client review. Now let's go to the client review.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top will be 16, padding bottom will be 16, and then inside this we'll have a h1 with class name of text center. Text will be 2xl. In medium screen, text will be 4xl. In extra large, text will be 5xl. Font will be bold, and then text color will be white. Now inside this we will have our section heading, so I'm going to copy the section heading from here. So copy this and paste it here, and then here I'm going to use a span, and inside this span we will have our text client, and then this span will have a class name of text sign 200. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading, but we need to add a break tag here. So let's use a break tag here. Now if I hit save, now you can see it looks good. Kind words from satisfied clients, just like this one. Next, after the h1 we have a div with class name of margin top of 16, width will be 70%, mx will be auto. Now inside this div we will have our slider, and for the slider I'm going to use a npm package. The npm package I'm going to use is React multi carousel. So this is a very popular carousel library that you can use with React or Next.js. So this is the package. Here you will have the demo and you have the documentation. If you want, you can learn more about by reading their documentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy their npm script and I'm going to paste it here to install React multi-carousel. The installation is completed. Next, what we need to do is we need to import this carousel and this styling CSS. So copy these two and paste it at the top. And also make sure that you convert your component into a client component. Next, we need to copy this responsive variable. So copy this from here and paste it at the top. So we're going to change some of the properties here. So in the desktop, the breakpoint, the maximum will be 3000 and minimum will be 1324. The items will be 3 and we want one slider to slide. So that's why slides to slide will be 1. And for the tablet, the max will be 1324 and min will be 764. The items will be 2 and items 2 means that 2 items will be in the screen, and items and slides to slide will be 1. And for the mobile, the max will be 764 and items will be 1 and slides to slide will be 1. Next, here inside this div I'm going to copy this code from here. Here you can see they have a lot of configurations options that you can use. So I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to change some of this. So first, we don't need the sweepable, draggable, and we are not going to show the dots. That's why I'm going to make it false. If you want, you can make it true. So I'm not going to show the dots. That's why I'm using the false. And for the responsive, we are going to use this responsive variable, and this is responsible for making our slider mobile responsive. And we do not need the SSR, and infinite will be true and the autoplay will be true. I'm going to make it true, and autoplay speed will be 4000 millisecond, and that's it. We do not need the others one, so I'm going to delete this. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we already have our slider working. So now we need to build this card. So for the card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate component so that we can reuse it. So in the client review folder, I'm going to create a client review card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then let's go to the client review, and here inside this we'll have our review card, client review card, client review card, and we're going to pass some props here. So first is the image. So the image will be slash images slash c1.png. Then we are going to pass a name for the first one. This one will be jnido, and then we are going to pass a role. So for the first one, let's say CEO landscape. That's it. Now we need two more, so I'm going to copy this. So we need four more, so three, and we need two more, so total we have five. So the second one will be c2.png, and let's use here for the name John Doe, and let's for the role use UI UX designer, UI UX designer. Then we have C3, and this one will be Jessica Doe, and for the role let's use CEO tech company. Then let's use C4 here, and the name will be Zara Doe, and for the role let's use web developer. And this is the last one. The image will be c5.png. The name will be, let's say, Zorado, and this one will be CEO of Design Studio. That's it. So now we have to receive this prop. So let's go to the client review card, and here at the top I'm going to use a type props, and here we're receiving a name of type string, and we're receiving a image of type string, we're receiving a role of type string. Now we need to pass it here as a props, and here we're going to import image, name, and role. Then this div will have a class name of margin of 2, and then inside this div we'll have a image component from our next image, and the source will be the image we receive as a prop. The alt will be client, and width 60, and height will be 60, and class name will be rounded full. That's it. Then we're going to use a p tag with class name of margin top will be 6, text base, text will be gray 200, and font medium. So here we are going to use some random text. So here we have some random text, so I'm going to use a package, an extension, which is lorem ipsum generator, and I'm going to generate some random text. So to generate random text you need to install a extension, and the extension name is this one, lorem ipsum generator. By installing this extension you can generate random text for your website. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our text. Awesome. So now let's go here, and now here we're going to add a code icon using a code which is this one, Q UOT quote, and we are going to add this at the end also. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see we have this quote icon. Awesome. So next, after the P, we have H1 with the name, and then we have a P tag with row. This H1 will have a class name of margin top of 6, text Excel, font bold, and text color will be cyan 200. Now I'm going to hit save, and for the P tag we have a class name of margin top of 1 and text color white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our name and role for the user. So just like this one, and you can slide from left to right or right to left, and this slider will automatically slide after 4 seconds. So if you wait some time, you will see that it slides automatically. So now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly with the viewport, and you can slide here also. If I show you the iPad device, here you can see in iPad we have two items, and you can slide from left to right or right to left. So our slider is fully responsive and works perfectly. So our client review section is completed. Next, we are going to build a block section. If I show you the block section, here you can see we have our section heading and this block card. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this block. And inside this, I'm going to create a block.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the client review, we will have our block. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text block. Now let's go to the block.tsx, and here the first div will have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Then inside this we'll have a h1, but I'm going to copy this from our client review, and here at the top we have this h1, so I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it here, and we're going to copy the text from here. So this is the my latest block, so copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here, and the blocks will be inside this span so that the block will have a different color. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading my latest blocks. Awesome. Next, after this h1, we'll have a div with class name of width will be 70%, mx auto grid. Then we have grid calls of 1. In extra large, grid calls will be 3, and in extra large, gap will be 4, otherwise gap will be 10. Item center, and then we have margin top of 16. Now inside this div we will create a separate component for our block card so that we can reuse it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm going to name it blockcard.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here we will have a div, and inside this div we will have our block card, and in the block card we are going to pass some props. First is the image. So for the first one, the image will be slash images slash b1.jpg, and then we are going to pass a title, and for the title I'm going to copy it from our deployed version. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here. So this is our first block card. We have two more, so I'm going to copy it two more times. This one is b2.jpg, and this one is b3. And for the second title, I'm going to copy it from here and then paste it at the second block card. So let's format this. That's it. And next, for the third one, I'm going to copy this. So copy and then paste it here. That's it. Now we need to receive these props in our block card. So let's go to the block card, and at the top I'm going to create a type prop, and here we are receiving a image of type string and then a title of type string. Now we are going to pass this prop inside our component, and then I'm going to import the image and title. Now inside this div, I'm going to use an image component from our next image, and the source will be image we receive as a prop. The alt, let's use block, then the width will be 500, height will be 500, and class name object cover. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our three image, block image. So after the image, we will have a p tag with date, let's say 5 July 2025. This p tag will have a class name of margin top of 4, text gray 500, font medium, then text base, and smaller devices text LG. That's it. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our date. Next we have this title. So after the p tag, we have an h1 with the title, and here we have some class name of margin top of 5, text LG, smaller devices, text will be Excel, font bold, text color white. In the hover, we are going to use the underline. In the hover, the text will be sign 300 and cursor pointer. Then we have transition all and duration 300 milliseconds. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our title. Awesome. Next we have this tag. So after the h1, we have a div with class name of margin top of 4, flex, gap of 2, items will be centered, and then inside this we have a p with the text react, and here we have a class name of px4, py will be 1.5, bg will be blue 950, text color white, text small, smaller devices, text will be base, and font bold, rounded full, and that's it. Now we have three more, so I'm going to copy it 2 more times, and then we have Next.js, and finally we have Tailwind. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so now you can see we have our text just like this one. Awesome. So this section looks amazing. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, and here you can see in mobile device the block section looks amazing. Let's check on the iPad. In the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our block section is completed. Next we are going to build the contact section. So if I show you the contact section, here you can see we have some contact information and a form. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home and I'm going to name it contact. And inside this, I'm going to create a contact.tsx. Then I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add this in our home. So let's go to the home.tsx. And here after the block, we will have our contact. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text contact. Now let's go to the contact.tsx and here the first div have a class name of padding top will be 16, padding bottom will be 16. Now inside this we will have another div with class name of width 90%, in medium screen width will be 80% and in larger screen width will be 70%. And mf will be auto. We're going to use grid calls will be 1 and then in larger screen grid calls will be 2, gap will be 10 and item center. That's it. So we are dividing the space in two parts, one for our text content, so one for this text content and one for this form. So here let's say this is for the text content and here we have a div and inside this div we have a h1 and the text I'm going to copy it from our deployed version. So this is the text schedule as call with me to see if I can help. I'm going to copy this and paste it here and this h1 will have some class name. So first we have text 3xl, in smaller devices text will be 4xl, then in larger screen text will be 5xl, font bold and text will be grade 200. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text like this one, schedule a call with me to see if I can help you. Awesome. Next we have this subheading, so I'm going to copy this and then after the h1 we have a p tag with this subheading. In this p we have some class name of text grade 400, then we have margin top of 6, text bay and smaller devices text will be LG. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and you can see we have our text subheading text just like this one. Next we have this mobile number, email address and the address. So after the p tag we have a div with class name of margin top of 7. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center, then we have space x of 3 and margin bottom will be 4. Now inside this div we have an icon. So first we have an envelope icon, so I'm going to use bi envelope from react icon and here we have a class name of width will be 9, height will be 9, text will be sign 300. Then we have a p tag with the email, so hello at the rate example.com, and this p tag will have a class name of text excel font bold text gray 400. So now the problem is this is the second item. So if I show you, you can see we first have the phone number, then we have the email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this div and paste it at the top, and then this one will be pi phone, and let's use a phone number here, and then I'm going to paste it also below here, and this one will be bi map, and here we have our address. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our phone number, our email, and the address, which looks exactly like this one. Awesome. Next we have this social icon. So let's go here. So after completing this, so this is the info, and then we have our social icon, social icons, and here we have a div with class name of flex item center, margin top will be 8, and SpaceX will be 3. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of width 14, height 14, bg will be blue 950 slash 60, then rounded full, flex items center, cursor pointer, flex will be in the column direction, then in the hover the bg will be blue 800, transition all, and duration 300 milliseconds. Now inside this div we have a Facebook icon, so fa Facebook, fa Facebook f from React icon, and this icon will have a class name of text color white, width 6, height 6. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our icon, but it doesn't look good just like this one. So let's check. So here item center will also have justify center. So now if I hit save, now you can see it's in the correct position and it looks awesome, and we have the hover effect also just like this one. Next we have 3 more, so I'm going to copy it 3 more times. Then the second one will be fa YouTube, and here we're going to change the hover color. This one will be bg red 600. Then for the third one, sorry, this red color will be here because this is our YouTube. For the third one we have a Twitter icon, so fa Twitter, and here the background will be bg sky 400. That's it. And the last one is FA Instagram. And here the background in the hover will be BG pink 500. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our social icons and you can see it looks amazing. We have different types of hover effect for different social icons. Awesome. Next we need to build this form. So let's go here at the top. So this is our text content div, and then we have our form. So here we have a div, and this div will have a class name of px4, py will be 3.5, bg will be hash 131332, and rounded lg. Then inside this we will have input, and the first input type is text, and the placeholder will be name, and then this one will have some class name. So we have px of 4. So here we have some mistakes. So at the parent div we have in medium screen padding 10, otherwise padding will be 5, and then we have this background and rounded lg. Now for the input class name we have px of 4, py of 3.5, bg will be hash 363659, then we have text of white, outline none, rounded md, width full, and placeholder the text color will be white /70. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our name input field. Awesome. Next we have email and mobile number, which is similar. So I'm going to copy this two more time. The second one is a type of email, and the placeholder will be email, email address, and then for the third one this is a type of number, and the placeholder will be mobile number. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have name, email, and mobile number just like this one, but they are not looks good. And one thing that is this one will be a type text for the mobile number also. And here for this input we have a margin top of 6, and for the third one we also have a margin top of 6. So now if I hit save, now you can see it looks good just like this one. Next we have this text area. So what I'm going to do is here I'm going to use a text area, and we do not need the name and id, and here the placeholder will be your message, and we have this similar class name. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and we have a height of 10 gram here. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text area which looks like this one. Awesome. Next we have this button, send message button. So after the text area we have a button with the text send message, and this button have a class name of margin top of 8, px12, py4, bgblue 950, in hover bgblue 900, transition all, duration 300 millisecond, and cursor pointer text white, and rounded 4. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our send message button, and this section looks exactly like this one as we deployed here. Awesome. So let's check if it is responsive or not. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. Let's check it on the iPad device. So in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our contact section is completed. Next we are going to build the footer. The footer is very easy. Here you can see we just have this text in our footer. So to build this I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it footer. Sorry, we have spelling mistake. Footer, and inside this I'm going to create a footer dot tsx, and then I'm going to use rafc to create a component boilerplate, and here the first div have a class name of bgblue 900 slash 20 and p will be 5, and then inside this we have a h1 with the copyright text. So I'm going to copy it from here. So copy this and then paste it here, and this h1 will have a class name of text lg, text white slash 70, then text center. Now we're going to add the footer in our layout. So let's go to the layout.tsx, and here after the children we will have our footer. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our footer, and it will also look on the mobile devices because it's very simple. So this is the iPad version, and in the iPhone it also looks nice. So our footer section is completed. Now we're going to implement the scroll to top functionality. So if I show you the scroll to top functionality, here you can see we have a button. So when I click here, it will go to the top smoothly. And initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling, it appears to the screen. And by clicking this, it go to the top very smoothly. So this is our scroll to top feature. So now we are going to implement this. So for that, I'm going to create a new file inside the helper, and I'm going to name it scroll to top.tsx, and then I'm going to use rafc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client. Now here I'm going to declare some state variables. So first I'm going to declare is visible and set is visible, and I'm going to use state hooks here, and initially it will be invisible, that means is visible is false. we are not going to show the button initially. When we start scrolling, we are going to show the button. Then I am going to use a use effect hooks here. With a empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called toggle visibility, and this one will be an arrow function, and inside this we are going to check window if window dot scroll in the y direction is greater than 300, then we are going to set our is visible to true. Then we are going to show our button. Otherwise we are going to set our is visible to false. That's it. Now here in the window we are going to add a event listener, and we are going to listen for the scroll event. So when we scroll, we are going to call our toggle visibility function, and it is good practice to remove event listener in the cleanup function. So I'm going to use return and then window dot remove event listener, and we are going to listen for the scroll event, and we are going to call our toggle visibility. That's it. So this is our show and hide scroll to top button based on scroll position. Then we are going to create a function for scroll to top functionality, and here I am going to create a function called scroll to top, and this one will be an arrow function, and inside this we are going to use window dot scroll to, and we are going to pass some property here. For the top we are going to go to the top, that's why top is 0, and the behavior and for the behavior we want smooth behavior, so I'm going to use smooth. That's it. So this is our scroll to top functionality. Now here this div will have some class name of fixed, bottom will be 4, animate pulse, so this is a built-in tailwind animation, and right will be 4. Now inside this div we're going to check if is visible is true. If is visible true, then we are going to show our button. Then we are going to show a button, and this button will have some class name of bg blue 950 slash 60, cursor pointer, then text color white, rounded full, width 12, height 12, flex, items will be center, then we have justify center, and focus, outline none, and then in this button when we click on this button we will run our scroll to top function. Now inside this div we will have, inside this button we will have a icon which is fa arrow up, so we are going to use this icon from react icon. And now if I hit save, and then we are going to add this in our layout, so go to the layout.tsx. So after the footer we are going to use our scroll to top functionality. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and you can see we already have our button. So initially it's hidden. When I start scrolling you can see the button appear to the screen. When I click here it will go to the top, and if I go down and then click here it will go to the top smoothly, and initially it's hidden, and when I start scrolling it appear to the screen. So all the functionality for this scroll to top works properly. So our scroll to top functionality is completed. Now we're going to add some animation to our project to make it more attractive. So if I show you the deployed version, so if I reload the page, here you can see we have animation, and when I start scrolling, we have scroll animation also, and you can see how attractive it looks with this scroll animation. So we are going to implement this animation now. So for the animation, we are going to use a npm package, and the package is called AOS, animation on scroll. It is a very popular and very easy library to add scroll animation to our Next.js project. So now if I go to their GitHub pages, here if I scroll, you can see they have different types of animation: fade animation, fade down, fade right, fade left, fade up right, and all of this flip animation, zoom animation. And the cool thing is you just need to add this data AOS to your div, and it will automatically animate this in the scroll. So you do not need to do heavy work here. So here you can check out the different types of animation and different types of setting also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open their GitHub page, and here first I'm going to install this using this npm install. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here to install this. Then we're going to configure this AOS in our home.tsx. So let's open this home.tsx, and then we need to import this AOS and AOS CSS file. So I'm going to copy these two, and then I'm going to paste it at the top, and our install is completed. And we need to also convert this into a client component using use client. And here if I hover, you can see we need to install the type also. So I'm going to copy this line and paste it here to install the corresponding types of AOS. That's it. So now if you go to their documentation, you can see you can initialize this with all of this functionality, all of these options. So if you want, you can learn more about by reading their documentation. So now here inside this home, I'm going to use a use effect hooks with an empty dependency array, and then inside this we're going to create a function called init AOS, and this one will be an async function. And then inside this we're going to await import, and we're going to use AOS, and then we're going to use AOS dot init, and we're going to pass some option here. So first the duration. For the duration we're going to use 1000 milliseconds, that means 1 second. Then we're going to use easing. For the easing we're going to use ease. Then we're going to use once. The once will be true. Then we're going to use anchor placement, and for the anchor placement we're going to use top bottom. That's it. Now we are going to call our init AOS. So this is our initialization part of AOS. Next we are going to first add animation to our hero. So let's go to the hero.tsx, and here first we are going to add animation to this image. So I'm going to use data-aos, and I'm going to use a fade up animation, and that's it. That's easy it is. Then we're going to add animation to h1, this h1. So here I'm going to use data-aos, and here I'm going to use fade up also. If you want, you can use different animation. And here I'm going to use another property which is data-aos delay, and I'm going to use a 200 millisecond of delay. Why is that? Because first the image will come to the screen, and after 200 millisecond delay this h1 will come to the screen, and this way looks cool. After this h1, we are going to add animation to our h2. So I'm going to copy this animation from here and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to change the delay from 200 to 400 millisecond. Then we're going to add animation to this button. So I'm going to paste the animation here and I'm going to change the delay to 600 millisecond. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, here you can see we first have the image, then this text, and then all of this. So if I show you again, you can see how smooth and how cool it looks and how easy it is to implement this animation. Next, we are going to add animation to our services section. So let's go to the services.tsx, and here in this div I'm going to add a data-aos, and here I'm going to add a feed write animation, and also I'm going to use a data-aos anchor placement, and for this one we are going to use top center. That's it. Now I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it for the second service card, and this one will be fade right and anchor placement will be top center, but here I'm going to use a data-aos delay and I'm going to use a 100 millisecond of delay. Now I'm going to copy this and let's add this for the third service card, and here I'm going to use a delay of 200 millisecond, and then for the fourth one I'm going to use a 300 millisecond of delay. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, and if I start scrolling, then we have this service section animation and it looks awesome. So if I show you again, so we have this initial animation, and then if I start scrolling, we have this service section animation. Awesome. Next, we are going to add animation to our work experience and education section. So let's go to the resume.tsx, and here at the top, so in this div I'm going to add a data-aos, and I'm going to use zoom in here, and then I'm going to use a data-aos dash anchor placement top center. That's it. Now I'm going to copy this too, and for this one I'm going to paste the animation here, and this one will be zoom out. So let's use zoom out, and we're going to use the data-aos delay of 300 milliseconds. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our initial animation. If I start scrolling, then we have this service section animation, and then we have this resume section animation. Cool. Next, we are going to add animation to our project section. So I'm going to copy this 3 line from here. Then let's go to the project.tsx, and here for the first image div I'm going to paste the animation, and here we're going to use a fade up animation, fade up, and for the first one the delay will be 0 and the anchor placement will be top center. If you want, you can remove this data-aos delay because 0 and not using it will be the same. I am using it 0 here. Then I'm going to copy this, and for the second project we're going to add a delay of 100 millisecond. For the third one we're going to use 200 of millisecond, and for the fourth one we're going to use 300 of millisecond delay. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have this initial animation. If I start scrolling, we have the services section, then resume section animation, and then we have the portfolio section animation. Awesome. Next, we are going to add animation to our skills section. So I am going to copy these 3 lines from here. Then let's go to the skill.tsx, and here we are mapped through this skill array, and then we have this div, and here I am going to paste our animation, and here the data areas will be flip right. So flip right, anchor placement will be top center, and here we are also going to use the index I, and for the delay we are going to use I into 100. For the first one, I, the index will be 0, and 0 multiplied with 100 will be 0. That's why for the first element we have 0 delay. For the second element, the I will be 2, I will be 1, and 1 will be multiplied with 100 and give us 100 millisecond of delay. For the third one, the I value will be 2, and 2 will multiply with 100 give us 200 milliseconds of delay. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so if I reload the page, we have initial animation. If I start scrolling, we have services section animation, then resume section animation, then the project section animation, and then we have this skill section animation, which looks amazing. Then we are going to add animation to our block section. So let's go to the block.tsx, and here for the first div I'm going to paste the animation, and here we're going to change this to fade right. The anchor placement will be top center and delay will be 0 for the first one. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it for the second one, and here the delay will be 100 milliseconds. Then for the third one, the delay will be 200 milliseconds. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our initial animation, then the service section animation, then the resume animation, then the project section animation, then the skill section, and then we have our block section animation. Awesome. Next we are going to add animation to our contact section. So let's go to our contact.tsx, and here we are going to add animation to our form. So I'm going to paste the animation here, and then we're going to use a zoom in animation here. Zoom in, and the anchor placement will be top center and delay will be 0. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our initial animation. If I start scrolling, the services section, resume section, then we have the project section, skill section, block section, and finally the contact section. So all of our animations are works properly. So if I show you again, if I reload the page, initial animation, then services section, resume section, then the project section, skill section, block section, and finally the contact section. You can see how easy it is to implement scroll animation using iOS, and how these simple things make our project more attractive. So our scroll animation is completed. All of the functionality is completed in our portfolio project. Now we are going to deploy our project in live server. So we are going to deploy our project in Vercel. So before that, we need to push our project in GitHub. So first, I'm going to open my GitHub account, and here I'm going to create a new repository, and let's name it portfolio dev, and I'm going to make this a private repository, and then I'm going to create a repository. Then go to your project and stop the terminal from running, and I'm going to remove this. And here first I'm going to use git init, then git add dot, then git commit, and then a message. Let's say first commit, and here we completed this git commit. Then we need git branch dash m main, so copy this, paste it here. Then this remote origin, we need to add this remote origin, so copy this and paste it here. And finally we need to push our project, so copy this and paste it here and hit enter. So this will push our project to the GitHub. So it's completed. Now if I reload this page, you can see we have our app component, constant, public, and all of our project. Next, let's go to the Vercel dashboard. If you don't have any account, you can create one for free in Vercel. And here I'm going to click here to add new. So let's click here and then add new project. And here I already connected to my GitHub, and here you can see the portfolio dev. So I'm going to import this, and then I'm going to click here to deploy. So this will deploy our project to Vercel. So the deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment is completed. Now click here to continue to dashboard. And here we now have a domain. So if I click here, the project is now in live server. It's not in the local host, it's in the live server. And you can see you now have this URL. So if I click here to reload, you can see our animation is working properly. We have our particle background working, our text effect also working. So if I start scrolling, our scroll animation also working properly, and every section looks amazing. Our skill section, our slider also works properly, our block section, then the contact section, everything works perfectly. So if I inspect in the mobile devices, we have our sidebar working, and all the other sections are also fit perfectly and looks awesome, and everything works perfectly in our deployed version. Now you have a URL that you can share with others. You can add it to your resume. You can show it to your potential client to showcase your expertise in Next.js. So this is it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development videos. So thanks for today.